This is lines 13 through 22 from Ovid's second poem of the Amores in Book 1. And so Ovid here has just explained, really for the second time, that he's been conquered by Cupid, and he gives up, and he's giving into Cupid's will. So in the first poem, it was, okay, fine, I'll write love poetry. I don't have a choice. And in the second poem, he's saying, okay, fine, I'll fall in love. I'll give in to you. And so he's now using some metaphors here. First, he's using the metaphor of cattle, of cows, and then it's of a horse, and then we get into some metaphors of prisoners of war and servitude and things like that. But in terms of translation, the thing I want to emphasize here is that we have some really important words left until the end here. So Boes and Amor in particular, and that the delay here creates, for translation, it creates a little bit of uncertainty. In terms of the literature, it creates some suspense and heightens the message there that Ovid is giving. So I'll try to read it left to right for you to emphasize what Ovid is emphasizing, but I'll make sure to go back and really try to make sense of it in a good English word order. So, more beatings they bear than those whom the use of the plow delights. And by now Ovid's audience knows they're talking not about a human, but of cattle or ox or something like this. They detractant, they recoil from, and now this is also nominative plural to agree with the subject here. So they, having been rounded up, recoil from, they refuse to undertake it, while, and then we get sort of this doom that probably should be here, right? So while they, rounded up, recoil from the first yokes, and then we get the cattle, right? So cattle bear more beatings than those cattle whom the use of a plow, or which the use of a plow delights, while they are recoiling from the, having been rounded up, they're recoiling from the first yokes. A rough or wild horse is bruised, contunditor, is bruised with respect to its mouth here. So this is os oris, the word for mouth. It's neuter plural, as is common in poetry, especially in Ovid. And it's accusative, but we don't have a transitive verb. So we have to say something, we have to sort of fake it and say maybe it bruises its mouth, turn this passive into active. But literally this is called an accusative of respect. So a wild horse, or a harsh horse, is bruised with respect to its mouth by harsh, and this is a toothed bit. So not just a bit that you would put in a horse's mouth connected to the reins, but if you've got a horse that isn't easy to control, you give him this, which has some irregular elements to it to make it actually hurt more when you tug on the reins. So a wild horse is bruised by with respect to its face, its mouth, by the harsh toothed bit or bit. It feels the reins less, whichever horse literally does or makes two arms. So this is an idiom here that means adapts to the harness. So whichever horse adapts to the harness feels the reins less. So frena is the accusative plural here. All right, Acreus, more fiercely, the unwilling ones. And we don't quite know maybe who the unwilling ones are, but they're masculine plural. And much more fiercely, so Acreus maybe much more keenly, sharply, the unwilling ones, and much more fiercely, somebody or something urges them unwilling. So we don't know exactly what's going on here, but we know we have another comparison. those who confess that they are bearing their servitude. And then finally, we get amor here at the end. So let's go back. So amor, passion, love, urges the unwilling ones more keenly and much more fiercely, and really multo probably goes with both, much more keenly and fiercely than those who confess that they are bearing their servitude. So behold, or look, I confess. He's saying here again, I give up. I confess, Cupid, I am your new spoils of war. We stretch out our conquered hands to your laws, to your control. There is no need, opus est nil, there's no need for war. We ask, we beg, we ask for your pardon and for peace. And there is no, or here ero, so there will be no praise to you unarmed, conquered by arms. So I will be no source of praise to you as I am unarmed and conquered by arms.